If you're approaching retirement, then you're likely to have 1,000 things you're trying to plan and prepare for. Financial arrangements, recreation and health are among the things that matter to most people. Companionship is also very important, because there's a transition from going out to work and meeting people every day to a different pace of life, where you have to actively seek out new friendships and experiences. Owning a pet is a popular choice in retirement, with dogs and cats the top options for people wanting company to share their daily life. We spoke to James Wellbeloved to find out more.
Basically, we produce a range of hypoallergenic natural dog and cat foods. We started off down here in Somerset, just about 10 miles away, and it was 3 people that started it, one of whom was a breeder, Christine, and she was having problems with the dogs, itchy skin, loose digestion, and having tried a lot of things, she decided that there was something in the food that was causing this problem. So the aim of the first food was to address that problem, and she wasn't the only one. A lot of her friends in the breeding circles were having the same issues, and the food we produced was very successful. It did the job. So later on we spread the philosophy across to cats, and we also have a complete ferret food. The other thing about James Wellbeloved is that we only sell to the specialist food trade. So that would be pet food stores, just the ordinary pet shop in the street, and you wouldn't find it in the grocery shops. And that's because we would like to have somebody there that can advise as to the best way of feeding a pet.
All of us, all animals need nutrients from the 6 nutrient groups, but different species need different amounts of different things. So if you're feeding a cat, you should be feeding them a cat food. They're not small dogs, they're cats, and they need a different diet to both ourselves and dogs. As far as being overweight, this is a big problem with animals across Europe. The amount of overweight animals is going up all the time, so that's a lifestyle thing, I think. But the important thing is to feed your animal, not the one that we describe on the packet. When we give feeding guidelines on food, it is only a guideline. It's a starting point for you. You should be very careful about feeding your animal to the weight that they need to be. So you can weigh your animal, and you can also look at their what we call the body condition score, basically the shape of the animal. Is it not if it's a little bit too thin, then feed a little bit more. A little bit too fat, feed a little bit less. Feed your animal so that it's got the right shape and the right weight.
If we go back, 40, maybe 50 years, when I was starting in the business, then a lot of the dog foods were just a straight muesli mix, so there'd be rolled cereals, some dried meat products, and basically they weren't very scientific and they weren't particularly good. And since then there's been an amazing move when they first started extruding kibbles, so you get the shape of kibbles that you see these days, and these have been through a full cooking process. Our knowledge of what the dog and cat needs have improved a lot, so we're confident these days that if we follow the recommendations, then we are providing the dog and the cat with everything they need.
We only use natural ingredients. We're very careful about the ingredients that we choose and use. And we are very passionate about our pets, and we like to transmit that through our food. We don't use any added artificial colours, flavours or preservatives. We have a single source of meat protein, which means in our turkey food there is only turkey protein, and this is part of our hypoallergenic strategy, which we think is important for the pets.
If you have a pet, then basically you want that pet to be happy and healthy, because that's going to mean your relationship with the dog or cat is going to be that much better. You can do more things together, and if they're happy, then you're going to be happy. And the key to that, or one of the keys to that, is feeding the dog and cat correctly. And for us, we also believe that we need to be feeding them natural foods to avoid the synthetic colours and preservatives and all these additives to keep the dog really healthy.
They are part of your family. We were without a cat for about 12 months, and it just didn't seem right. The dog didn't have a boss, and so we had to get some new cats. So yeah, they become part of your family, and it's always nice to come home to somebody. That's not just for me, for the children as well.
It's not going to be that long before I retire, and I know the first thing that I will do is to get a dog and a cat, maybe more than one dog. I'm a widower, I live on my own, and the companionship is very important. It's also the sense of routine as well. If you've been working all your life, then you're getting up at a certain time, you're going to work at a certain time, you're coming back at a certain time, and everything is mapped out for you. You're seeing people, whether they're colleagues or customers all day, and you've got that companionship. And when you're retired, then you could easily be on your own and not see one person from beginning of the day to the end of the day. And it is tremendously important, tremendously advantageous to have an animal there that you can relate to. And only pet owners really know the sheer joy and friendship you get. But also you've got to stick to that routine as well. And some of us, me in particular, don't have a particularly strong willpower. So yes, I'm going to go to the gym every week, or yes, I'm going to have a brisk walk every day. But then, oh, it's raining, or I was up late last night, I'm not feeling that good, I don't think I'll bother this week. But with a dog, you have to get up and go out, take it for a walk. And the fantastic thing is that once you're out, then you feel a lot better for it.
If you're living on your own especially, or you have more time on your hands, like you would have if you retired, if you have a pet, especially a dog, you can go out and meet people. You're never alone with a dog. If you go out with your dog, people will come and talk to you. What's the dog's name? How long have you had him? What kind of a dog is he? And so you get, even if you don't meet other dog owners, you get the social interaction just from walking with your dog. So yes, and it does give you, it gives you a purpose. You've got a companion and somebody to look after and be with. Having pets is very relaxing. You know, stroking the cat is very good for stress. In fact, my own mother was saying only last week how nice it was to have a cat to stroke, and she felt a lot calmer, which is unusual at our house because it's not a very calm place most of the time.
For both dogs and cats, then they have a remarkable effect on the level of stress that a person might feel. So there have been various surveys, and quite medically based ones as well, which show increasingly that having a dog or a cat reduces your stress levels and therefore reduces the risk of strokes, heart attacks, high blood pressure, that sort of thing. And that, I say that would work for both dogs and cats. It's just stroking the dog or cat, talking to it, you can feel yourself calming down, particularly at the end of a stressful day. And for dogs as well, obviously, then you get the exercise part of things. So if you're out for a brisk walk every day, then that is going to improve so much of your health. It's tremendously important for anybody that's deciding on a pet, and particularly for a retired person, to decide which pet is right. First of all, should it be a dog or a cat, or even perhaps a ferret? Cats are a lot less work than dogs, but they're quite independent, so you don't get quite the same relationship. I always say that there's only mothers and dogs that give you complete unconditional love, and it's true certainly with dogs. But it's not just, is the pet right for you? Even more importantly, it's, are you right for the pet? And that means the situation you're living in, it means whether you're going to be there all the time. A lot of people that retired are looking forward to taking a lot of holidays. You know, so you've got to say, well, what's going to happen to my pet when I'm on holiday? Does it come with me? Do I have friends that can look after it? If it goes into kennels, would I be happy about that? I mean, there's some terrific kennels around, so there's no reason to worry, but some people do.
You've got to think about your lifestyle and choose the right pet for your lifestyle. If you've got a small flat on the 3rd floor, then a Labrador may not be the dog for you. You know, those little low tables can be cleared by Labrador tails. Now, if you've got a lot of time to exercise a dog, you know, don't get a collie dog if you've only got, you know, half an hour a day to exercise your dog. You'd be better off with a whippet, quick walk round the corner, all done. If you're not at home, who's going to look after the dog? What's going to happen when you're on holiday? You really have to get the animal that will fit into your lifestyle. It may be that a dog's not suitable, but maybe a cat is, or maybe you should be having a ferret or a gerbil. Ferrets actually do make very good pets. They'll come when they're called, like dogs do. They're very companionable. They'll do tricks. They want to learn things. They'll sit on your knee. You can take your ferret out for walks on a lead if you train it. So they are a very companionable animal, but you can leave them for a little bit longer than maybe you would be happy leaving a cat. So if you are out for, you know, working for long days, then a ferret may be a good companion animal for you.
Join us after the break for more information about pets and companionship.
Made in the heart of Somerset, James Wellbeloved pet foods are the naturally healthy way to feed your pet. Every pet is different, and their food makes a big difference to their health, well-being and happiness. We love talking about pets, so tell us your pet news, and if you'd like to find out more about our products and your feeding queries, visit our website. We are always happy to help.
Welcome back. We've been talking with the experts at James Wellbeloved about the considerations that you should make when getting a pet, and how the companionship they provide can be extremely valuable in retirement. Retirement will mean different things to different people. While one may feel excited by the prospect of a new chapter in life, another may worry about how they'll adjust. An animal can be a key element of a happy and peaceful retirement.
One needs to be careful in terms of the size of the animal, certainly, and do a lot of research into what the needs of the animal are in terms of exercise and whether that's going to match you. Me personally, I would always go for something like a lurcher, but I live in the middle of the countryside. I've got plenty of room to run the dogs. If you're living in a flat in the middle of a city, then that wouldn't be the right choice, and you need to be looking for something perhaps a bit smaller and something that doesn't need the same amount of exercise. You're looking essentially for a healthy dog if you can manage that. There are some people who are very happy to look after dogs which are also getting old as well. You don't have the same length of life with them, but you can still get the same amount of enjoyment, the same amount of love coming back from the dog that you're looking after that's quite old. It really depends on your own situation. A lot of people now, when they retire, they're looking forward to a good 30 years of life after that. And certainly, you know, quite a bit of that, they're going to be in a healthy position.
For a lot of people, it's an opportunity, isn't it, to have a pet. If you've both been out at work all the time, then maybe you've not been able to have a dog and you've always wanted one. So you can look upon that as an opportunity. And you're going to get all the benefits from those lovely long walks. So yes, I think it probably is a good thing.
Loneliness can be a problem for retired people, whether they have lost their partner or, you know, living on their own, or even if their partner is still with them but they're at work still, then you've still got a lot of the day when you're not seeing people. And dogs particularly can help me to meet people, whether it's on an organised basis, so one has organised dog walking groups these days. There are puppy training classes, these sort of things, where you're going to meet other people that are interested in dogs. Or it could just be the accidental, so two dog owners walking in a park, the dogs start talking to each other, and then the owners start talking to each other. And it does bring that contact with society. It's easy to feel that when you've done your job, when you've retired, that's it. You're no longer any use to society. That's, you know, you've fulfilled your purpose. And it's nice to be able to meet people with similar views.
Join in. I think this is one of the advantages you get with a dog, that you're meeting other people, and obviously there are all kinds of doggy activities these days. You know, people run with their dogs, people have do agility, and it's all kind of trick training and all kinds of things that you can do with your dog in that regard. So that gives you the opportunity to mix with other people and have a sort of, you know, a life centred around that. When you do stop work, work takes up a lot of your time, doesn't it? And it is the opportunity to do something else.
A very important thing with feeding dogs or cats is to make sure that they stay at the correct weight. You choose a food which is good food in the first place, and you'll find that on the back of it, on the side of it, there is a feeding guide. And the feeding guide is there because it has to be there. That's one of the legal requirements. But ideally, what we would say, instead of that big feeding guide, is if your dog is putting on weight, feed it less. If it's starting to lose weight, feed it more. That is the simple thing. And how to know it's at the correct weight is, what we do these days is look at body condition score. To say that a Labrador at a certain age should be a certain weight is quite difficult because you get lots of different types of Labrador. So it's all based on body condition. And we have things on the website that will help you to judge the correct body condition score, and also obviously your vet can help. And we would recommend that you take your dog or your cat to the vets on certainly an annual basis, just for that checkup from somebody who knows a lot more about these things. In terms of cost, obviously a lot of things will depend on the size of the animal that you've chosen in terms of the amount of food that goes in. You've also got to take account of veterinary bills, and we would strongly recommend that people insure their animals. It may seem quite pricey to insure a dog, but it can pay hand over fist if there are any serious problems that need to be sorted out. We do find that if the dog is fed correctly, and certainly we get a lot of comments from our own customers, then the veterinary bills can be reduced a lot just by feeding the dog correctly in the first place. But if the worst should happen and your dog is involved in an accident, that sort of thing, then you could be looking at expensive treatment, and insurance in that situation is a really good idea.
My name's Chris and this is Duffy. He's my rescue dog that I got from 10 months old. I train with the Association of Pet Dog Trainers, which means we use Force 3 kind, fair, effective methods. And as you can see from Duffy, he quite enjoys the training because he knows it's going to be a treat at the end of the day. Didn't you? When I first got him, he just didn't know anything and he'd run right out of control. So you need something so you can take them for a walk, let them off lead, so you need to teach them to come back. And just general pet manners such as sit and lay down, etc. It helps to stimulate them, so it gives them something to do. And it's quite a nice way to build up the bond with your dog, really, so that you enjoy doing things with them. They once they know what it's about, they just love doing stuff, and they want you. They almost train you to say, "Come on, do this. I want a treat. I'm doing this. So treat me, treat me."
It is important that you train your dog, and you've got to think carefully about sort of all the actions that the dog's doing. It may be exciting for you when you first get your dog that he does jump up, but you know, if he's going to be a large 30-kilo Labrador, do you want him jumping all over other people? So yes, I mean, the very basic things, a recall and a stop of some kind are essential for every dog, even if you don't want him to do tricks. And dogs do enjoy the mental stimulation of learning new things. So yeah, you can both benefit from doing that, yes.
You can just about train your dog to do anything within its physical capabilities. So, you know, for example, you might not be training a giant breed dog to do some of the things that you could train a smaller dog to do. But yeah, roll over, spin, any kind of tricks really that they can do, virtually sort of handstands. You see the dancing dogs that they, you know, walk on their hind legs, etc., etc. But as well as that, their nose capabilities mean that they can search for stuff that we've just got no idea is about. And that's a really good way. It's really easy for owners, even first-time owners, to teach their dogs to actually use their nose. Tires them out. So when there's lots of rain about, we can play searchy games indoors. He likes searching for catnip mice. So it's scented with catnip, and so he searches for the catnip. That's a fabulous way to. You just have so much fun, and you get to watch your dog and what's it doing and picking up on when it's picked up a scent. So that's a really nice, a nice thing to do. You can do agility with them if you're feeling particularly active and fit. Again, that's a nice way to get yourselves out. You meet lots of new people, like-minded people.
With a cat, you are only ever really your cat's personal assistant, and you've got to accept that, I think. But some cats will enjoy doing retrieving and things. They will fetch little bits of paper and stuff if you throw them, and they'll chase things around the room. You should, especially if you've got an indoor cat, they do need exercise, and you should be playing with your cat. Long past the stage, the kitten stage, when they want to play, you need to carry on, because it's good for their health, and it's mentally and physically to continue to have some stimulation of that kind, especially if they're not going outside.
I think with more traditional methods of training, we used to think that some dogs were untrainable, like terriers and stuff, but actually terriers are really trainable if you give them the right motivation. So it's like us, you know, if we didn't particularly want to do a job, we're not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to get much pay for the end of it, or I've been told to do it. Terriers, if you say, right, come on, there's a reason to do it, a game of tuggy or a nice tasty treat, they're going to say, yeah, okay, I'm up for that. So no, I haven't met a dog yet that we haven't been able to train.
So if you can give us a definitive answer today, can you teach an old dog new tricks?
Oh, definitely. The oldest dog I've taught a new trick was 16, so yeah.
When you have a dog, then basically you are in total control over what that dog will eat. And buying a good food, you're certain that you were looking after all the needs. If you have a cat, on the other hand, and the cat's allowed to roam, then you may find sometime that it doesn't seem to be eating a lot, and it could well be that it's either supplementing its food with small mammals and birds, or it might have found somewhere else close by that's also feeding a cat, and it's sharing there. Which is why one concentrates on body condition rather than the amount of food that you're actually giving, because particularly with a cat, you haven't got a clue what it's doing. And ideally, you would want to be in full control, but with a cat, you never are.
Cats that are going out hunting in the true sense of the word and bringing home their own meals are fine, because they're having the exercise there, and most of the cats that do hunt, you'll find, they also come into this collective of cats that are self-regulating. The other problem with cats is visiting other people and eating food at the neighbours. This can be a problem with overweight cats. One of the things you can do if it is a big problem and you're worried about it is put a little tag on the cat that says, "Please don't feed me. You know, I know you think you're being kind, but you're actually not doing my health any good." But it is very difficult to regulate what your cat's doing outside the home. It's not always good to supplement things. Prepared pet food is well balanced. There's all the nutrients in there that your animal needs. If you're supplementing the food with something else, you're in a way unbalancing the food, and it may be that you're feeding more of something that the animal doesn't need, and you're diluting its diet. Same goes for feeding scraps. You've got to remember that all treats and scraps that you feed do have calories in them as well, and you are taking away a little bit from the balanced diet you feed. So scraps are fine a little bit, but don't overdo it. Cats on the whole, their normal feeding behaviour for cats is to go along to the bowl, eat a few grams of food, go away, have a lie down, go back. This is natural feeding behaviour for cats. They reckon when cats visit the bowl, they eat about 23 calories, which is about the same amount of calories as there are in a mouse, and that's great. So if you have a cat that does this, you can put all your food down for it for the day and let it visit backwards and forwards. A lot of cats are self-regulating, but others aren't. If your cat isn't, you really do need to portion control the amount of food you feed your cat, or he or she will put on weight. People worry that cats are aloof and they're not really joining into the family life. But I think you do have to look after your cat. You do need to be responsible and make sure that you've got enough time to devote to them. But they are more easygoing as far as demands are than dogs. You and the cat can rub along a little bit more easily if you have a little less time.
As I get closer to retirement and deciding how my life is going to be then I know that I will be lonely if I don't have a companion animal, and as I say, I certainly will be having one dog, probably two dogs and the odd cat, and they will give me a lot of pleasure. And I think also my children, who are grown up now, but I think they're going to feel a bit more confident about my health if they know that I've got somebody there to look after, and somebody, that's in some way looking after me by being that companion.
If you're approaching retirement, or are already retired, and thinking about owning a pet, there are a few questions it might be wise to reflect upon. Do you want to be more active? What sort of pet are you looking for? Will it fit in well in your home? By making considered choices and careful provisions, you can be sure that you have a retirement that suits you and your new companion.